Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, how it was made, the lyrics, artwork, the band members, and everything in between. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. 5 stars only, please go do that. All the social media is at Asinine Radio. Go follow us, share all the posts, tell all your friends, and that's it. That's all I got for the boring intro. So let's jump right into it. This week we are doing The Police, and we're doing their debut record. What is it called? I've been saying it.
Hold on there, dude.
Outlandos D'Amore.
There it is.
I've said it like 7 times in the last 20 minutes. Outlandos D'Amore. Their first record, like I said. And let's jump into that. What's your origin story with The Police? Go.
I don't even know. I don't know. I guess my big origin story is playing Guitar Hero. Like when I really felt like, okay, now I understand why people like The Police. Because I've heard like Roxanne, I've heard Message in a Ball throughout the years, but they were just songs by that band that kind of sings reggae, but they're not reggae. But when we started playing Guitar Hero, and then you kind of like break down the song itself, and it was Message in a Bottle, and you're kind of like, oh wow, that sounds fucking dope. And so that was when I really realized that The Police are not just what I thought they were. They were better. And that's when I really started listening to The Police more. So I guess, what was that, like 2008-ish? Give or take?
Yeah, I would say that sounds about right.
Era?
2007, I'd say. Yeah, 2008, 7, 8.
Yeah, so like before that it was just Roxanne. And like everybody fucking knows Roxanne. Everybody knows the lyrics to Roxanne, or at least what they think they are. Everybody knows Message in a Bottle, Every Breath You Take. But I never appreciated The Police until I played a Guitar Hero. That's my origin story, is Guitar Hero.
Okay, yeah. All right. I mean, I agree with you. Hearing Roxanne from as far back as I can remember as a little kid, that song was always on the radio. My parents would play. I think they had like the greatest hits from The Police or something like that. They had some sort of compilation. So I remember that song a lot. I remember Message in a Bottle. But like you, I didn't really appreciate them until Guitar Hero, probably, and which is crazy because like I knew how great Stuart Copeland was because of his connection with Primus. Because getting into Primus like in middle school and high school, reading more about Oysterhead and all that kind of stuff, and it's just you just kind of follow that trail and realizing that Stuart Copeland was the same drummer. So it's just kind of like I knew about them, but yeah, I didn't really understand their music. I didn't listen to any of their records in full until probably late 2000s. So it took me a long, long time. And even then, I mean, all of their records are great. There's nothing bad there, but it's rare when I ever want to go back and listen to an entire record by The Police. So that's a little hint to the ranking, okay. Or the rating, but yeah, anyway, that's my origin story. So let's get into first impressions on Outlandos D'Amore from The Police. So, or do you have any stinkers, I should say?
No, I have no stinkers. I only have one song that is not a banger.
Okay. I have all bangers. I think they're all bangers, honestly.
Well, why would you not buy those on the vinyls?
Because as much as I like it, and I think it's a great album, wipe. I don't think I would ever really go back and listen to it too often. I don't mind having this on vinyl. I really don't. Like if I found like a copy for like $10, I'd get it for sure. But I'm not going to go out of my way to go buy it.
You're going to find a nice copy for $10. Get the fuck out of here. This guy. Jesus.
Yeah, no, every song on here is very good, and every song is pretty different from... There's only one song that kind of is like, dude, you're just kind of copying a song from the beginning of the album. Like, there's only one song that really is like a almost carbon copy of a previous song on the record. But otherwise, it's just banger after banger, man.
So what's your lowest? I guess I'll just say the only song that I don't think is a banger, and then we can get over that real quick. But Born in the 50s, I don't think that song's a banger.
Same here. That's my lowest banger, my 10B.
Yeah. It's 10B. Just I get it. I get what they're trying to do here. They're a punk band. They wanted to be a punk band, but they also didn't want to be like a punk band, and they knew how to play their instruments, and they're all fucking pretty damn good at it. So they couldn't be a punk band because they also just they didn't have the angst. And this is the song that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek way of them being a little cheeky about the whole thing and trying to be a little bit more aggressive, but it's just
It came off as like almost kind of like cheesy 70s rock, like regular kind of blues rock. It was a little too anthemic. The chorus a little too anthemic. It just seemed disingenuous for a band like this.
And I know
it's not necessary.
I know it came out after, but anytime I hear anybody in music sing like "Born," I just automatically go to Springsteen, and it just fucking ruins it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I can't unhear Springsteen doing his annoying fucking "Born in the USA" song.
That song is so fucking bland. It's so vanilla.
Dude, the boss kills me, man. Kills me.
He is seriously the Foo Fighters of the 1970s and 80s.
You know, it's funny too because I like everything that he does. That's not music related. I like him as a person. I think he's fucking hilarious. I think he's cool. I think he's so connected with his fans. Like everything I've ever read about him, it just sounds so cool. Like years ago, he's riding his motorcycle in Jersey somewhere, sees a bunch of fans on the side of the road somewhere. They have like a bottle of tequila. He pulls over on his motorcycle, gets out, takes a couple shots with them, gets back on his bike and drives home. As he's driving home, he immediately gets pulled over by the cops, gets a DUI, and that cop that pulled him over starts getting death threats. Like fucking people are sending police officers death threats because you don't arrest the boss in the Jersey area. Just don't do it. What were you thinking?
It's
and that
crazy.
that kind of clout I think is just fucking cool. And he's just I don't know, his performance is always cool. I don't know. Yeah, but go ahead. I digress.
Is he actually Italian, or is he just because he's from New Jersey? I know.
I always assumed they love him because he's just from New Jersey.
I mean, normally, you hear like the Italian people get kind of crazy with other Italians. So that's why I'm curious.
Is Springsteen like an Italian last name?
I don't think so. That's why I'm curious about it.
It sounds like generic as fuck.
It says he's Dutch, Irish, and Italian descent. So he's not really Italian.
Yeah.
It's fake Italian.
Yes.
But okay, so everything that you just said, who does that sound like? In more modern
that sounds like Dave Grohl.
Exactly.
The guy does.
Seriously, he was the 70s and 80s Foo Fighters. Like vanilla as shit music and just a really cool guy outside of the music.
Yeah, and even like Springsteen, much like Dave Grohl, like Springsteen never really did hard drugs. Like he pretty much abstained for the longest time of hard drugs, drank and a little bit of pot here and there, but never really did like hard drugs. And he's a very I don't know him. I don't watch like a lot of interviews with him, but when I do see something pop up, I stick to it because I like him outside of music, and he always just seems very like approachable. It seems like a very normal dude, a lot like Dave Grohl.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so now now that we have Born in the 50s out of the way, let's move on to your biggest banger. What do you got?
So I mean, I don't know. Because I really want to talk about the big ones, but I want to get like the lower ones out of the way kind of right now. Because all my three lower ones are attached together. It's Born in the 50s, Truth Hits, and then Can't Stand.
Truth Hits and Can't Stand.
Those are my three lowest bangers.
So I mean, yeah, let's run through those real quick.
If you have major notes on those, are those like in top 5 for you at all?
No. Well, Truth Hits is my number 5, and then Can't Stand Losing You is my 8.
Okay.
So I mean, we can just run through them real quick. That's fine. What do you want to go through first?
Well, let's do. I mean, Can't Stand It. I think is just fine. It's good. Yeah. There's a couple songs on here that I think are just really good filler. Like, damn, that's a good fucking filler song, and like that's a good fucking filler song, and I like that. I can't stand losing. I can't. Well, it's the repetition, right? Get in there. Get in the ear. Like, make the melody happen. I like that.
Well, also, I mean, this is the song I was referring to. That's almost exactly like another one, and this song sounds like So Lonely.
Yeah,
the way it's structured. Yeah, it's a little less punky, And it just doesn't have the same energy as So Lonely. And this is absolutely, if we're gonna say any song is filler, it's this one for sure. Yeah. Even though that guitar riff is pretty damn pop punky during the chorus, pretty pop punky, but otherwise, yeah, you don't need it. You just don't need it.
I like where it sits. I like where all three of these songs sits, coming off of Peanuts and then getting into like my favorite part of the album, but the Be My Girl and then Masako. Like I like where those songs sit. They're easy songs. Like you need to calm down a little bit from Peanuts and you need to prepare yourself for the fucking weirdness that's going to come. So I like where those three songs sit. And it's cool.
Yeah.
And Truth Hits is a good song. It's a solid fucking song. I think Truth Hits is better than Can't Stand, but they're my three lowest bangers.
And what's weird about this one, so this one is probably their heaviest song on the entire this is actually definitely the heaviest song on the entire record. That guitar tone that Andy's playing on this is super, super crunchy. But then also very pop punky at the same time. It's a weird combination. So it definitely gives the whole tone of the song a much different feel than the rest of the album. And also on this one, I hear a ton of Josh Freese. Like he's always said that one of his biggest influences, if not his biggest influence, is Stuart Copeland, and you can 100% hear it on this particular song because it is one of the more pop punky songs. I immediately thought of Josh Freese.
I could definitely hear that.
Yeah, and it's just
that's cool.
I totally hear. But otherwise, Truth Hits everybody. It's a good song, but definitely, I don't know. It's mid tier.
Okay. I have the least amount of notes for those three, except for Born in the 50s. I have a lot more notes. I just wish that one wasn't on there.
Yeah, I mean, take that one out. Have nine songs. Have it like a cool 34 minutes because I think it clocks in at 38 minutes, 38 something. So have it just 34 minutes. It would have been real solid.
Chef's kiss. Mwah.
Exactly.
So let's. All right. So now let's get into the good stuff, baby. Let's get into the good stuff. My favorite song is the closer, the Masako Tonga. That is my favorite song. Fuck.
It's a weird one for sure. That's my 6B.
God, this song is so good, dude. This is like their jam closer. This is amazing.
For sure.
Amazing.
It's like 6 minutes long too.
And throughout this whole thing, so reading more about like Sting's play style and where he kind of came from and how he plays here, like he's got a great voice. He's a fantastic singer. He's a really good bass player, and you kind of hear him showing off some of his chops here. There's a lot of slides. There's some cool skills he does. There's a lot of chords that he's throwing out. It's all deadly. He's throwing out like everything that he's got in his little bag here, and Sting fucking slays on this song. This is my favorite Sting song. Just his musical thing that he's got going on. It's so good.
Okay. So I hear a ton of Les Claypool on here too with the palm muted slapping and stuff. That's very chickas. Yeah, I mean I know Les Claypool obviously wasn't the first one to do it, but I think like Jaco Pastorius was like the first one to really kind of popularize that style, and really Sting just absolutely kills it playing that way too. And it's chaotic. The song is chaotic. It's extremely jammy. I agree with you, especially as you get like the latter part of the song. It gets super jammy, experimental, but it just sounds like them having a lot of fun, and that's awesome. But it also has a ton of reggae there too. Like prior to the jammy ending, there's a ton of reggae in this entire song. So it's good. This is a great song.
This is so like Sting couldn't quite hit all of these like reggae bass lines and sing at the same time. It was hard for him transitioning from being like a kind of like a jazz player into this punk new wave reggae thing. So a lot of his bass lines throughout this entire album are they're very choppy. They're broken up. There's a lot of like dead air where he can't quite hit all of the notes because he's trying to sing at the same time. And so this one, his lyrics they're just gibberish. He's just fucking speaking and talking and really focusing on the bass lines. And like, damn, it works so well.
It does. So the name too, like with the Police, the album names are all just like either made up or they're not in English. Let's just say that. And Masako Tonga, that just means the markets of Tonga, and Tonga is a city in Tanzania. So I had no idea about that. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool too.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a wild
Silly.
fucking song. Wild song
So
with
good.
gibberish. No, it's great. It's really a great song.
That's my biggest banger right there.
It's such a departure from the rest of the record too. It's so wild and it's so unexpected by the time you get to it. But once again, if they had taken out Born in the 50s, I mean, this could have been a way, way tighter album.
Yeah, this could
Better,
have been a perfect
honestly.
album. Take out Born in the 50s.
Yeah, it might. Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong in that, because it's definitely not a perfect album. Spoilers.
I mean, I grade based on like an objective standard. Even if you have a Korn album that has 2 or 3 bad songs, you would still rate that a perfect album. Thus, giving your standards a subjective approach. But that's okay. You know, it's different. That's fun. That's fun that we have a push and pull thing. That's great. Like I'm more of like, kind of like the steady ground. You know, feet on the ground. You're more like head in the clouds type of thing, and that's great. It's a great dynamic. What's your 1B?
Oh, you're so obnoxious sometimes.
I just asked what your 1B was. Is all I asked.
Okay. All right. So yeah, my 1B is Next to You, the opener. It's got to be your number one, right? Why can't it be your number one? Where does this one sit for you?
That's my 6B.
Really?
Yeah. That is my
Dude,
6B.
it starts off. It starts off totally rock and roll. Totally rock and roll with those drums, the guitars. The verse comes
intro,
in,
baby.
It seriously, and then it just the very punk verse comes in, transitions into the chorus. It just goes back and forth between this rock and roll and punk thing. It actually reminded me a lot of Queen. Like I don't even know, I can't even think of a particular song, but one of their more punk influenced songs. That's what this reminded me of. Like the way that they were able to transition between the two genres was so seamless, and it was so perfect. And a lot of it has to do with Stewart, with Copeland, because his transition, his fills they're extremely tight. They're show offy, but they're classy at the same time, if that makes any sense. Yeah. I don't know, man. I can't explain how Copeland plays. He's honestly one of the tightest drummers you'll ever hear. Honestly, his play between the hi-hat and the snare is it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
It's more so he's like a percussionist rather than a drummer, because he's using the drum set as another instrument rather than just laying down like a beat. He's not a backbeat drummer like at all. He's in there. He's up there, and a lot of times he's up there under Andy Summers, but because like you can hear them both play at the same time, you're like, oh yeah, dude, this is the Copeland show right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Andy Summers is fine. And he's got some cool shit.
It's his songwriting too, as a drummer, because he knows when to fill in a lot of the gaps with big heavy toms, or he knows when to just hit the bell on the ride cymbal. I mean, that tone, that sound of him hitting the bell on that is just so crisp. It's so clear, and it's so much of a signature of his style. You hear it on Roxanne, especially in Roxanne, and you hear it on so many other Police songs. Like that to me is his signature, is the bell on his ride cymbal. It's so perfect. And he never does just like a normal 4/4 beat on, or like it's just always kind of doing something a little bit off on it too. And he's just such an incredible fucking drummer. He just knows how to write really, really amazing parts. And I wish I could really kind of explain it better, but I'm just not a drummer. So I wish I could explain it better.
Just in those pieces right there, right? Stuart Copeland knows how to utilize cymbals well. Just in the beginning of Next to You, he's hitting the closed hi-hat. He's hitting that real fast, and he's kind of going along with Andy Summers. And then he also hits like soft crashes. Then he hits that ride bell. So he's not afraid to use like all of the cymbals in his kit, and he uses them in different ways that you would not normally use them. But he always kind of comes back to like the closed hi-hat. But it's not a tight close, a little bit loose close. You get a little bit of ring in there. And so I like that he starts and kind of ends the same way, and everything in the middle is just bizarre and weird. And he doesn't hit those crashes super loud. He kind of hits those crashes like he's hitting a ride. So it's a little bit quieter, but you're getting a lot of like that resonance going on. And I think he's fucking amazing. It's unreal. And like you said with the transitions, the dude a lot of the stuff the Police did on this album in particular their transitions are abrupt. They don't make any fucking sense.
No,
They're
they
so
don't,
abrupt.
but it works.
It's a fucking screeching halt. They'll go from a reggae thing into a punk thing, and it makes no sense. But because Copeland can play it off and then bring those beats back from like the reggae into the chorus, that's like a punk chorus, but then still kind of bring it back to like the reggae beat that he was doing while also doing the chorus, it makes the transition abrupt, but also like, oh, I get it. It makes sense.
It's like his playing is also, for lack of a better way of explaining it, it's like the perfect fusion of a huge swing groove mixed with the super tight feel as well. Like maybe it's the looseness, the swinginess of his playing that allows for the ease of transition between the verses and the choruses, or styles, I should say, because he's still so fucking tight, but you just hear him kind of just swinging along the entire way. It's just, he never seems like parts that seem very rushed when he's doing like the 16th notes on the hi-hats during the more punky stuff. Even when he's playing that, it doesn't sound like he's having a hard time doing it. Like you hear a lot of punk drummers do the 16th note on the hi-hat, and it just sounds like it's about to fall apart. Like every 70s punk band, you listen, any Misfits, Black Flag, Ramones, Pistols, all of them, they all sound like they're about to fall apart. But the way Copeland plays it, it just sounds like this is every day for him. It's nothing at all. And then just bouncing right out of that into like some fucking ride shit or just whatever he does. It's just incredible how he could just go back and forth with such ease, and it never sounds like it's going to fall apart. He never rushes. It's just he honestly is objectively a perfect drummer. He really is. And he deserves every bit of credit he's ever got. The guy's
funny
incredible.
Because like Andy Summers is almost 10 years older than them. And so he had already been playing in bands like well-known. He's been playing with well-known artists prior to being in the Police. And like also reading the lyrics in some of these on this whole album too, like which is not like nothing here is really deep anyway. But
no.
I was like, dude, you guys are at least in your late 20s. Like I don't know, it kind of made the lyrics a little bit less fun and kind of more like, that's kind of dumb, dude. Like Sting writing about this stuff at like 27, 28 years old.
Yeah. It is a little bit cheesy, but I don't think that was the point of the Police. The point of the Police was to fucking just play music. And because they're all just so talented. Like when you look at any band who's extremely talented musically, the lyrics always fall short. Look at a band like Van Halen. Everybody in that band is amazing, except for the lyrics. The lyrics are kind of shit. You know, and unless the singer is just a singer and lyricist, it's going to be kind of shit.
That's true. I mean,
and that's how the Police are.
Sting is using his voice more as an instrument rather than like a vessel to get across a point.
Exactly.
But it's still just kind of like, I don't know. I like when bands release a debut album that is fucking fantastic and they're like 20. I guess I'm just when they release a debut album that's fantastic and they're like almost 30, kind of loses a little bit of the mystique for me.
I get it.
But yeah, what about dude? Like, so Andy Summers overall, this album, he's good. Rarely he's
the
great,
weakest part,
but he's good.
Yeah,
and he has cool fantastic parts. But he has cool parts because everyone else is letting him do so. But this one in particular, he's got a fucking really rad. So first of all, like his little like chords that he's using, he's hitting that shit so fucking loud, and it's in the front of the mix, and it sounds like some shit Pete Townsend would do with the Who. Like it's just so aggressively loud. Like why is it so fucking loud? I like that. That's very punk of him to do. And that solo that he does,
it's a great solo.
Slows down. I mean, get like Summers just fucking dope slide guitaring, and it's not even very good, but it's like, oh hell yeah, I like what you're trying to do. I like where your head's at, and I like how you're doing it. It sounds rad.
He has a lot of wonky kind of things throughout the record, like solo wise, because the slide guitar here. There's a couple of songs where he just does some like weird shit with the effects, things like you would never expect from the Police. Like it seems a little too off the wall for something that they would do, because based off of everything we've listened to, they just seem like a perfectionist type of band, or at least Sting does. So to throw in anything like wonky and kind of experimental seems odd. And when you hear these certain solos, it's just like, damn, dude, that's like, imagine if like they really let Andy Summers run wild, or if Sting allowed it. Like you could get he probably would have played some really rad shit, like some King Crimson level kind of stuff there. But I don't think Sting would have ever allowed that. But anyway, which is weird too, because like Sting comes from like this like jazz fusion kind of background prior to the Police, so you'd think like he would allow for more experimentation, more jams, and everything like that. It seems kind of odd that he never allowed it. Very strange.
The band, I mean, this band's sound is so unique, and there's very few to like none that sound like the Police. There are other kind of new wavy bands that can do reggae and interpolate it. Like even like Blondie's done stuff that sounds similar. B-52s, Talking Heads,
Clash,
but
obviously.
Nothing that sounds exactly like the Police.
Well, it's because none of those bands have the chops. That's what really makes them stand apart,
there, dude. Yes, Blondie has the chops. B-52s have the chops, and Talking Heads definitely have the chops.
No,
Different.
Not to the extent of the Police. No, they're all great musicians. Don't get me wrong, but
this band,
they certainly don't have the chops.
Successful because these guys are good. This band is successful because they did something that no one else had fucking done before, and because they are good at what they do, it made it better. But it's this sound. This sound has like never been replicated, and you can't replicate this because it's just so fucking weird. It's not punk. It's not new wave. It's not reggae. It's not really good at anything. But because it's its own thing, it's great. And you could put a mediocre drummer or bass player or anything, and it would still be really fucking unique and cool.
I don't agree
because
with
they
you
are
on that.
really good at their instruments. It made it great.
I think the only member that could be interchangeable would be Andy Summers. I really think that would be the only one.
You could put a mediocre drummer in there, and it would still be cool.
No.
The sound. Why wouldn't the sound be there? The sound would be there. Of course it would.
Because I feel like Copeland's parts are just too ingrained into the overall sound of the songs.
There's only one person you can't take out, and that's Sting. This band is nothing without Sting.
Well, of course, he's the main songwriter, the vocalist.
But that's what makes this so unique. Not the drumming, not the guitar playing, not even the bass playing. It's Sting's vocals. It's the way Sting sings things.
Well, because he sings so high,
he sings things. But he doesn't always sing high.
Most of the time he does.
But like in Roxanne, there's a lot of low parts in Roxanne, and then he goes really fucking high, and he screams, and he yells, and he wails, and it's weird, and there's like reggae things in the back. But those little upstrokes that Andy does, any fucking guitar player can do that.
That's what I said. Andy Summers is the most interchangeable member of the band.
But as long as you can get any drummer out there that can just play like a decent like reggae beat, they would be fine.
I don't think so. I totally disagree with you on that.
You're telling me that you get any drummer in this band that can just hold a reggae beat and the Police would be shit.
But that's the thing.
Is that what you're telling me?
The Police aren't a reggae band.
Is that what you're telling me?
They do so much more than reggae. That's my whole point.
Copeland's beats stem from just a generic reggae beat. If any drummer can just hit a generic reggae beat, you're telling me this band would be shit.
Yeah, because they have
You're just being a silly boy right now.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all because
the melodies are way too strong.
They dabble.
Nah.
The melodies are strong, but the way that they jump from genre, like we just talked about this 10 minutes ago, the way they jump from genre to genre, you have to have a really great drummer to be able to do that so fucking seamlessly.
They would still be good. They would still hold the water. They would still be iconic. They would still be pioneers in the sound.
I don't think so.
But they wouldn't be God tier. They'd still be fucking A tier for sure.
I don't think so. I think it would have been way
silly.
too sloppy.
What are you talking about? You're telling me
it would be way too sloppy.
Then that means like Copeland holds as much water as Sting is what you're saying.
I think not as much, but damn close. Yeah, I absolutely believe that.
What, did you fall down?
I absolutely believe that.
What are you talking about? My voice cracked because I'm just so flabbergasted by the stupidity that is just spewing from that hole in your face.
It's true though.
It is not true in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it is true.
He's a great drummer. There's no doubt about it.
One of the best.
But very, very rarely can you take a drummer out of a band and then that band like dips dramatically. And I think this band would. Bands.
Yeah, I think it would. I think obviously the melodies are there. All that shit is there because of Sting. But
nobody sings Roxanne like, oh, that fucking Copeland beat, dude. That's what I'm singing. Like, no, dude. Everybody sings Roxanne. Well, that's not Copeland.
That's not what I said. I said, yeah, the melodies are great. They stand alone. The melodies on their own are fucking amazing. But as a song, the songs as a whole, you need the transitions, the seamless transitions that Copeland provides. Yeah, maybe if they didn't have Copeland at the time, or maybe if they never had Copeland, the songs would have been written differently. But because they had Copeland, or Sting had Copeland, he was able to write these kind of off the wall kind of sections and transitions and shit like that. Maybe he would have spent more time on making the transitions melody wise, bass, songwriting wise. but he could also fall back on Copeland when he needed to. And I feel like that's why Copeland is also so fucking important to the band.
He's important. I know, but this band is great because of all of them. But if you took Copeland out, this band would still be really good.
No, it wouldn't. But it wouldn't be the same band. That's the thing.
Yeah, it would.
They could be really great.
It wouldn't be as good.
But the songs would not be the same. The songs would not be the same. 100% they would.
Obviously, they wouldn't be the same because he's not there. So
they would be drastically different. Because once again, there are moments like on Roxanne, on Next to You, there are sections in that song that make no sense, but are only held together because of Copeland. So in that, Sting would have to change the way he writes the songs to make the songs flow.
He could just find any generic like drummer that can keep a reggae beat.
Okay, now you're repeating stupid things. And we should move on because now you're being dumb.
We don't disagree that Copeland is a amazing drummer. That's it. We're in agreements there. But this band can still survive with just a generic drummer who can just play a reggae beat, maybe church it up a little bit. It wouldn't be as churched up as Copeland, but it would still be fine. And this band would succeed. Maybe not as much in like the musicians world, like musicians talking about the Police talk higher of them because they were all great at their instruments. So maybe they wouldn't get that much clout, but yeah, they would still be extremely successful. Maybe almost as successful even without Copeland. But yeah, you don't need them.
Okay, we're done. We're done with this. We're not done with this episode, but we're done with this conversation.
I think you're trying a little bit too hard to like I don't know, be a drummer or something over here.
We're repeating ourselves. And
like you take Neil Peart out of Rush, come on, that's a given, done, gone.
Well, of course,
what the fuck is Rush without Neil Peart? Nothing.
Of course. You
tell me that's the same as like with the Police?
It's the same thing, yeah.
Fuck out here!
It's the same thing, but it's not fair.
You can't see my hand. Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
That was fucking. You're a silly boy right now.
Let's move on.
That's silly.
So what do you got for your 2B?
Got Coors Light there. Be My Girl. Right. Sally.
Be My Girl Sally is my 9B. So let's get into that.
I hate this song. Which part of the song do you hate? The melody or the spoken word?
I mean, the spoken word is pretty silly. This is also kind of a filler song. Like I would be fine. Well, I wouldn't be fine with taking the last song out, but this song could also be a closer. It's set up to me. It's set up more as an outro because it's just there's nothing. It's not like a traditional kind of verse chorus. It's just kind of lighthearted. It's like a lighthearted punk song with some really good harms in the hook, but yeah, the spoken word monologue. It's just so stupid. I mean, it's cool. It's great. It's cool and great, but it's just so dumb.
How come when Tom and Mark are fucking throwing the dick down the stairs, you like fucking cream your pants and think it's the greatest thing that God's ever given to this earth? But when anybody else does it, it's stupid and filler and dumb and should be thrown away. But this is funny. This is like objectively funny.
It is funny. It
tells
good.
A story, but it's not too goofy and it's not too serious and it's actually funny. This is actually funny.
It is funny. Yeah, it is.
And it's even more funny because the way they talk. Because their accents are stupid. If you don't have like a Southern California accent, then you're stupid. Straight up. That's facts. Facts of life.
So I completely forgot about who taught you how to throw a dick down the stairs?
Who taught you how to throw the dick down? Then he just stomps his hands and like slaps his body.
I completely forgot about that until earlier this week. It randomly popped into my mind and I just started laughing out loud. I was LOLing. And just because I hadn't thought about that for who knows how long. But yeah, it's so fucking funny when he says that.
For me, the best part of that joke was like growing up, like the funny part was how like who taught you to throw the dick down the stairs? Like that was funny. And then like as we got older, the funny part was thinking about them slapping their body, trying to mimic the sound of something falling down the stairs and how stupid that probably looked. And probably the big old grin on their face as they were recording that. Like, that's so funny.
Because they were literally like 18, 19 years old in this studio for the first time. No money, just fucking around in that studio. And they decide of all the things to record, they record that. And it's so goddamn funny.
And that's why I think like when like, these guys are like 28, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit old. And Andy Summers is older than them. So Andy Summers is already over 30. I mean, maybe he was probably like 35 when this came out, right?
say so, yeah.
That's like, dude, this is like us doing this, which is not unheard of. This is something we would do, but we're a little bit too old for this. We're a little bit too old.
You know what? We're not, though, because I feel like the humor would never leave us. So if we had money to do this kind of shit, we would 100% do it. Seriously. Come on.
I like the part in the thing when he's talking. He says she's cuddly and she's bouncy. She's like a rubber ball, but he says she's cuddly and she's bouncy. She's like a rubber ball, and you can really hear the accent coming thick. And I don't know why, but that just makes me laugh so fucking hard. I bounce her in the kitchen and I bounce her in the hole.
It's so dumb.
So stupid. Dude. But then won't you be my girl part? Like that's instantaneously catchy. Come on.
It is. It's very, very catchy. I agree. But once again, this would be a better outro than whatever. I forgot, dude. How do you?
I agree though. Masako Tonga, whatever it is.
Yes. See, this is one of the things that's so frustrating about this band sometimes is that they have such like weird names for songs and titles of the records that sometimes I forget what they're actually called.
Yeah.
So that's annoying. But yes, this would be a better outro than Masoko.
This one fades out anyway, so why not just put this as the last song and then fade out from that "Won't You Be My Girl" part?
Yeah, and so you know what makes the spoken word part even funnier? Oh wait, never mind. Stuart Copeland was the American guy. He's American. I was gonna say because Andy Summers does the spoken word part. And then I thought, oh, he's American and he's doing a British accent, and that would have made it so much funnier. Had Stuart Copeland in it, that'd be way funnier. But then I just realized Andy Summers is British too.
Yeah,
he's from Britland. Oh man, it is very funny, and the song is about an inflatable sex doll.
Yeah,
I mean there's nothing deep about this, and they're just fucking around in the studio. I think they really only recorded this probably because they needed to cover a certain amount of time for the LP. I really think that's what it is. There's no excuse for this song.
It is kind of funny because like it's and then most of Sting's songs are endearing and lovey-dovey, and this one starts off like that. "Won't you be my girl?" And then it the whole like inflatable doll thing comes up, and the outro is exact same as the beginning, and it's "Won't you be my girl?" But then it makes you think about that thing a little bit differently, so it hits a little bit differently beginning and the end. I think that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it does. It's cool. But I don't think there was a lot of thought put into this.
I mean, this is a song that if you took Stuart Copeland out, like it would be just as good, but that's all right.
This is not like a proper song. Of course not.
It's one of the strongest melodies on the album. That chorus is one of the strongest choruses on the album.
Yeah, that
instantaneously catchy.
Of course, yeah, the hook is very, very catchy, but otherwise, whatever. I
mean, but that's important. Now, how many times we shit talk a song because like the verses are catchy but the chorus sucks, or the chorus is super catchy but the verses sucks? I mean, there's no different, except that this is a deliberate attempt at making a shitty verse. So they spoke it. They speaked it.
They speaked it.
Before he speak his soup, he spoke.
What is that? Is that Estelle?
Yeah, it's Kanye on Estelle.
Or Kanye. Okay, yeah.
Damn, Gina.
We got to do Kanye again on the pod. What did we do? College Dropout? Like we did years ago, right?
We did 808s more
yeah.
recently. We should.
I don't think we've ever done College. I don't think we've ever done College Dropout.
And we should. You're right.
Yeah, someday.
That's our fault.
We should do Yeezus, but that's fine.
That's a whole other dude.
Or Graduation. That'd be fun too.
Yeah. Actually, we should do Graduation. That's an easy one.
I'd rather do that than College Dropout.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Let's do it now.
Dude, I'm down. I'm going to be here all night.
Damn, I kind of do Kanye now.
Maybe we could do this next week. I don't know. We'll see.
Really bad.
We can get the Kardashian season. We could do
Kanye. God, dude. Kanye.
Then we could do, and then we could do a Travis record, his solo record, and then we could do a Tyga record. Because one of the girls is with Tyga, right?
I don't know.
We could do Kardashian season. Let's do it. God, that'd be so dumb. But I'd be down.
Did Lamar Odom ever cut a record? Because that would be kind of fun.
Dude, that'd be so good. I don't think he has. Damn, Kardashian season. That'd be something else.
That sounds like the fucking worst thing.
No, but it wouldn't though.
That could have ever been done.
No, because it wouldn't. Because we do a fucking awesome Kanye record. We do the Travis solo record, which is a pretty solid record. And then, I don't know about the Tyga record, but it's probably bad. but we just shit on it the whole time. So that'd be fun too.
I just wouldn't want to say Kardashian on air, even though I just said it. But like it just seems like we're giving them more free publicity for doing more nothing than they've already been doing.
At this point, who cares?
We call it K season. Call it K season. I'm down with doing K season. That's what I'll call it. K season or K.
Kris Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner season.
Yeah. Yeah. KJ season.
Anyway,
KJS.
CJ.
Anyway.
Whatever. Yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Boy. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. So, Be My Girl. We good on this one?
Yep.
All right. So let's get into you good with Be My Girl, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my 2B is Roxanne. Let's get into it, man. As overplayed as this song is, it's still a goddamn banger.
Dude, it's such a good song.
Yeah. It really is. Just how his bass line is very kind of reggae too, and it just leaves so much open in the entire song. There's so much dead air in this song that this should not be a popular song. It should never been as popular as it was or is because of how much dead air there is in the entire song. And how weird it is.
That's what makes like the Police more punk than they even like think they are, because from what I read, there's dead air because Sting couldn't do everything at the same time. He just wasn't good enough. And like that's I don't know, that's so fucking punk. Like instead of just working around it, I'm just gonna stop playing and just keep singing, and then let these little choppy parts. Let me butcher up my bass line by leaving in dead air because I just can't fucking do it. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Who cares?
So and it worked.
But then like your boy comes in and he fills up those gaps. He fills in those spaces, which is really cool, like nuance. So,
but what's great with Copeland in this song is that in the pre-chorus he uses like the big toms, the big heavy toms that really fill in the gaps to transition into the faster chorus with the harmonizing and all that great shit in the chorus. But then in the verses, it's just very kind of super fucking tight, very open, very airy sounding. But it's so cool, once again, with Copeland's ability to write drum parts, how we can just completely change the style, completely not change the style, but change the feel, going from the verse to the pre-chorus, building into that chorus. It's fucking amazing. Fucking amazing.
My favorite like Copeland thing on this entire record is on this song, and it's the way he transitions that little like and then goes Roxanne, like whatever that little part is. It's like it reminds me of that little fill in The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, or there's like bah, and then it hits that little stutter right there.
It's like he hits the toms of dun 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 dun, and then he hits the guts. He hits the snare and then the hi-hat. He's hitting like the open. It's like the open hi-hat that he closes real quick, kind of like that disco kind of beat sound.
Very similar to like Smells Like Teen Spirit kind of intro, like that.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Whatever Dave Grohl's doing on that, whatever that is called, that's kind of what he's doing on this.
Exactly.
And it sounds weird, but then like he does it in the chorus again to kind of like bring it back. So he said, "Yeah, even though that was an abrupt transition, I'm going to do that same exact beat in the chorus, so you forget that it was an abrupt transition and just realize that it's part of the beat now."
Part of it, yeah. Oh, he's so
great
good.
drummer.
He's fucking incredible. Incredible. And just, the way, I mean, honestly, the way this entire record is mixed and mastered and produced, honestly, considering how cheap of a budget they had, it's just a perfect sounding record from every which way. And this song in particular, just how thick sounding Sting's bass is on this is just, it's so nasty. It sounds so good. Sounds so good.
He has a fucking really cool line like in the chorus too. He does, like usually he's kind of squirrely and kind of all over the place, but in the chorus he kind of like keeps it simple, kind of keeps it like just very basic, but then adds like a little bit of flourish here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And to think like this whole album was produced by the fucking Police themselves too. Like what the hell? Like how? What were you thinking?
I know. And they had to borrow the money to record the record. So they had 1,500 pounds, 1,500 pounds, however many dollars that is. And that's the Stewart's brother, Miles, lent them the money. They ended up going a little bit over budget. So they ended up only spending like 2,000 pounds on this record to record it. And they recorded it, I think, in like over like a 2-month period. But it was like intermittent. Like they would only go into the studio like in the middle of the night, or if like another band had canceled, they would go in for a little while and record. So I think in the end, this was recorded over 2 months, but very, very intermittently, which is super rad, man. And like, how do you do this with so little? Not only do you have like no proper producer, engineer, nothing like that, that you're consistently working with, and then it's just 3 guys making this much noise. 3 guys making this much noise, and they're not even a loud band. Like they're not like a Sabbath or a Zeppelin or like any metal band from this era. They're not. It's just crazy how much sound they make. Not even like bands like Cream, like another big 3-piece. They didn't make this much sound. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy just how much noise these guys can make, how much dead air they can fill with just cool nuance from 3 guys.
Yeah. Yep. And also getting back into the chorus, the harmonizing. Oh, I love the harms in this one.
Do you like when you?
So
I assume
good.
you do because I do. So when you're singing this in your car, like, are you doing Sting's part or are you trying to do the harms?
Always doing the harms.
I always do the
always
harms.
Doing the harms.
I always sound like shit when I do it, but I always try and do the harms.
It's so much more fun. It's like a lot of the harms on this record reminds me of Van Halen, especially on the first Van Halen record, because the harms are so great on that one. And much like Van Halen, I only want to sing the harms. I don't want to sing David Lee Roth's parts. I just want to sing those harms. Oof.
You want to go down to the Roxanne, like those are the good ones.
It's so great.
I like that. Dude, and the song ends with that double time too. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
God, it adds so much energy to the song, that double time at the end.
Yeah, it's
the way
it's a perfect song.
Oh, dude, what's so cool too is like at the end of the song, he's just singing the chord, just singing that melody over on repeat. But then when Stewart is changed, he not only double times it, but he adds like the flourishes that he's doing in the pre-chorus with the tom hits. He's adding that at the very end too to add more sound to round out the song that way. And it's just, once again, man, Copeland kills it. Absolutely kills it in the song. So
I like Sting's voice. I like Sting's voice, and I know we've done this album before, and we talked about this, but I had completely forgotten about it until this week too. But that whole like beginning thing where he sits on the piano and then laughs, I had forgotten about that, and
I did too.
I was listening and I can hear the laughing thing, and I always thought laughing was part of the song, but I didn't hear the piano part. You had to turn it up pretty damn loud to hear him like sit on the piano or do whatever the fuck he was doing with the piano to hear that like piano like thing. But the laugh thing, like, it's like maniacal, even though it's just a goofy little thing they left in. It fits with the fucking vibe, dude. It fits with the song so well.
But you really have to turn it up loud to even hear the laugh.
The laugh you can hear better than the piano, but it's still buried because the song drops right into to essentially the rhythm section at this point because it's just Summers and Copeland, and they're just doing their thing. But then Sting, I don't know, it's cool. It's cool.
And really, Andy Summers is, I mean, his guitar playing is iconic, but it's still just so it's just so generic, which I hate saying, but it's just like a very generic guitar playing with the upstrokes and everything. But his guitar tone, honestly, his guitar tone on this entire record is incredible. It just his clean tones
changes so much.
It does.
So many different things he's doing.
His clean tones are just perfect. Absolutely.
Sometimes like he throws like a solo in there and it's a clean solo and it's like, dude, that sounds kind of like shit. And if you had some distortion on there, it would have sounded a lot better. And it's like, okay, but like that was the point. That was the point of them. They were trying to be more stripped down, and they're trying to compete with their punk contemporaries, but also not be their punk contemporaries because they're not as angsty. And so I think this band's a lot more punk than like they lead on, even though they're kind of in the punk section and the subgenre. This band's a lot more punk, like in ethics and mentality than they lead on.
And funnily enough, they were often like really criticized for not being edgy enough to be called punk. So they were criticized by other punkers, by the media, by everybody else. But yeah, in the end, they were way more punk than Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols they're essentially a record label plant. I mean, they're just, God, I don't.
I mean, musically, Sex Pistols could be like arguably one of the worst things that's ever happened in this earth. But like Sex Pistols did embody like the punk aesthetic. Like they looked punk, they did punk things, and they fucked people, and they fuck you, yeah.
But that's it.
Whatever they do, but their music sucks balls.
They did like 2 or 3 tours, and one of which they didn't even finish. Sid Vicious couldn't even play his fucking instrument,
which is kind of punk though. Like to be fair.
It's just exhausting.
Like how many punk bands did we see at like Chain Reaction where like, dude, you guys suck at your instruments, but they still played them, and I was like, okay, that was kind of punk though.
Yeah, it is, but they also, the bands we used to see at Chain Reaction, you know, aren't the Sex Pistols. You know, they never reached that legendary status that the Sex Pistols have. So it's just the Sex Pistols blow, man. Fuck that band.
I give them a little bit more credit as time goes on. I the punk mentality, the punk DIY ethic is kind of there. And you know, they played on like a boat to like fuck the Queen or some shit at some point. That's pretty punk. That's cool.
No, I think you're thinking of like the grandson burned like a bunch of Sex Pistols merch, like classic merch on a boat. I think that's what you're referring to.
No, they played like on a
6
yacht.
years ago, 5 years ago. No. What you're thinking of is when like somebody who was related to the band got a bunch of like classic merch, like that, like some really rare shit, and they got on a boat and they burned all of it.
What do you call
just
when
for
like the
shits and
fucking
giggles?
Queen gets elected and like there's a specific word for like the Queen and
Coronation?
Something like that, but it's called something stupid.
It's called something stupid. Okay,
it really is. It's called something so dumb. But the Sex Pistols like kind of like took over that or something on a boat, and it was this big like fuck you thing, and like everybody was really mad at them, and it happened on the same day, like something of Coronation, but not Coronation. It's called something
Jubilee.
Else.
Jubilee.
Yeah, Jubilee.
That's what it is. Okay,
that's a stupid thing because it's the fucking
dude.
X-Men,
I'm sure. I'm sure Skip is probably screaming.
Oh, he's fuming.
He's probably so mad right now. He's probably at this moment he's DMing us right now.
He probably turned from he probably turned from a Birmingham accent into like a Peaky Blinders accent where you just can't even understand what he's saying because he's so fucking mad.
Peaky Blinders took place in Birmingham. Makes no sense.
But how come I can't understand what they're saying, but I can understand what he's saying?
You're thinking of Cockney. Because I remember that was what he said. Like a couple of the guys on Peaky Blinders, they didn't speak with a Brummie accent. They spoke with a Cockney accent, and that's the one that's hard to understand.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
No, again, just kill it real quick. Sex Pistols have done punk things, the punk aesthetic. I get it. I get why they are popular. I just wish they weren't. That's all.
Agreed. So, with we good with Roxanne? I mean, the song actually. Outside the lyrics, do we have anything else on Roxanne?
No, and we rarely kind of praise singers outside of lyrics. We rarely praise them for just like being a good singer.
Yeah,
and like Sting's a good fucking singer.
He is a good
singer. Shitty solo albums that I just cannot fucking stand. Like he's a good singer. Dude has range, but he also has like inflection. He can just take. Like that Roxanne, right? He can just go up or down if he wants, and like you say mine is made up, and he has like a little bit like a crackle in his voice, where his voice cracks, but he does it so perfectly. Yeah. And it's so smooth. Like the guy's so smooth.
He does have a ton of range. He sings. There are moments on this record where he just sings super high. There's some songs where he has a lot of grit, like a lot of soul to his voice, that you don't hear on a lot of the later Police records. I can't say for his solo records, but a lot of the Police records, you don't hear that kind of grittiness, soulful thing that he does on this particular record. So I mean, he really does. He does have range, man. He really, really does. Super talented guy. I really don't want to talk shit on him because he's just.
Who, Sting?
Yeah, Sting.
What would you talk shit about him? Just the fact that he releases terrible solo albums.
Terrible solo albums, and also he's a whiny little brat sometimes.
He's a fucking brat for sure. I do like that he's never changed his name though, like legally to Sting. He stayed like his Christian name, whatever the fuck boring ass. Oh, it's Gordon something. And he's like, yeah, because like who the fuck calls me that? Like my kids call me Sting. Everybody calls me Sting. Like I don't need to change it. That's pretty true. Gangster. Yeah, I like that.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
That's punk. That's punk right there.
Yeah.
That really is, right?
Yeah, it is. It totally is. But then, like, we talked about in the rankings episode how there was one song that Andy Summers wrote that Sting just did not like, so he refused to play on it. So Andy just recorded the bass and recorded everything himself, and that ended up on the record. And it goes to like, dude, just if some guy's writing in the band, even if you don't really like it, just kind of play, just have fun, jam, and reading more about the band prior to this record. They had an original guitar. They started out as a 3-piece, and then Andy Summers joined, and I forgot the original guitar player's name. I don't remember his name. Pat something? I don't know. But really... he just wasn't as good as Andy Summers, and Sting knew it, and they kind of like slowly pushed the guy out of the band before Andy Summers eventually said, here's the ultimatum. Either I go or he goes, and then they ended up firing the original guitarist. But just things like that, like he just kind of like, I feel like he kind of undermined other members. And I feel like that's where a lot of like Stuart Copeland and Sting really kind of clashed too, because it was just the ego thing. And I really don't think it was because of Copeland. Like you watch interviews with Copeland and he seems so down to earth and such a nice guy. But then you watch Sting interviews and he seems very pompous, very, very pretentious.
Again, though,
it's for sure Sting.
Dude, Sting versus Copeland. Like, okay, Copeland's a better musician comparatively. Like, Copeland's better at the drums and Sting is at the bass. Copeland's better at the drums and Sting is like writing songs and melodies. He's better, but like nobody cares about drummers. Like, Copeland's probably, without even giving it a thought, Copeland's top 20 of all time drummers.
I would
probably
say top 10 objectively. I would say objectively top 10. Yeah.
So, but Sting's not a top bass player. He's not a top songwriter, but like, holy shit, dude, the stuff he did with the Police is legendary. It's stuff that will be talked about forever.
Once again, because
of the way society works.
Once again, a lot of it has to do with Copeland. Because if you look at the later Police records, dude, the last two, Ghost in the Machine and Synchronicity,
it's because of the melodies.
No, it is because of the melodies. But the drummer plays such an important role because those last two Police records, they're great. But Copeland kind of sat back a little bit. There were more Sting records. You look at Sting's solo record.
Their biggest hit of all time.
Their
most popular song is from that last record.
We also know that kind of means nothing when we look at music.
But
we're looking like
even
an
Spotify
overall collection.
And Every Breath You Take is like double the listens of their next biggest song.
That's true. But look at who we were talking about earlier, Bruce Springsteen. It's very, very vanilla music, but look how fucking popular he is. It's the same thing.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Who cares if he has 100 million streams on Spotify?
Well, that means a little bit of something.
It doesn't mean something. But, I mean, you're really, really... You're not giving Stuart Copeland enough credit.
I'm giving a ton.
No, you're not. Not enough.
I just said way more without giving a thought. He's top 20 all time.
He's way more important.
He's probably top 10
than he's given credit for.
Absolutely, but he's not that important. Sting can survive and did survive without Stuart Copeland.
Did you know? Fun little fact that so the Police they've only ever reformed twice. Once in 1987, and they re-recorded like "Message in a Bottle" or some shit. And it was stupid, and then they broke up right after. The only other time they ever got back together was 2006, I believe, and the reason they got back together was because Josh Freese was playing with Sting, was playing in his band for years, and still plays with his band a lot of the time. And Josh Freese was the one who pretty much convinced Sting to get back together with Stuart Copeland to do a Police reunion. And that's why they did it in 2006. It was because of Josh Freese. And I think that's super fucking cool.
That is cool. And that's cool because Josh Freese is like, yeah, I just want to see my favorite band play.
That's exactly what it was. Because he was up there playing Police songs every night with Sting. And Stuart Copeland being one of his favorite drummers of all time. Like, how could you not want to talk to Sting about that and then want to try to get those two guys back together to play shows? It's a no-brainer. But anyway.
Pretty good.
Roxanne, this is about, a prostitute. It's pretty obvious. And the song was actually, so what I found interesting about this song was that it was never actually banned on the BBC radio. But it never gained any traction. But the band marketed the song like it was banned, and that made the song more popular. So they pretty much lied about it, and I fucking love that. That's punk, dude.
That's punk, dude.
And I thought
lie your way to the top. I mean, it is funny because like Sting had said, it kind of like facetiously he said that, like how come bands can say fuck and all this other shit in their songs, and that doesn't get banned. But we sing a song about prostitution and it gets banned, but it really wasn't banned. But it just brought more attention to the song and what it was about and the band itself. And like
I thought that was cool.
punk, but that's smart punk.
Yeah, it's a lot like early Limp Bizkit. Like it's kind of shit like Fred Durst used to do too. He used to like just
bad publicity
put out
is
fake
better
shit.
than no publicity.
Exactly. Love that.
That's what we should do.
Love
is fucking Limp Bizkit. We should the new vinyl that dropped live at the. That's all right. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. All right. So we have anything else on Roxanne?
No, that's it.
All right. So what do you got for your number 3?
3B's Peanuts for me.
That's my 3B too. Let's get into it. What do you got?
Love this song. Love this melody. This is a punk rock driven song. But Summers has some really fucking rad parts to this. Some cool noodling, some background stuffs, and that solo. That solo's rad. I love that I love that the song transitions out of the solo back into the verses, because again they're doing that abrupt thing well enough. And again, like Copeland has writing credits to this one, so I think a lot of those transitions are him like, no, dude, that sounded like shit. Here's how you should be playing that, so I can make you sound better. And that's where I think Copeland is probably telling Andy Summers how to play his instrument better, because when you see like Copeland's writing credits come up, that's when the abrupt transitions come in to where Andy Summers' guitar playing sounds better. And he doesn't really do that stuff very often, to where he can transition a song. It's always Copeland.
Always.
And so I think Copeland told Andy Summers how to play his instrument better, or how to do things with his instrument that he could not do. Which doesn't mean he's a bad, guitar player or whatever. It just means that Copeland is a better musician.
Yeah. And also it just shows that, Andy Summers, he doesn't have much of an ego. Like he's able to accept the criticism and
shit.
Try harder. Like I love that. That's collaboration, dude. That's how a band should be for the most part, but not the Sting show.
Dumb.
What?
Every like epiphany that comes through our brains now is just, well, that's called collaboration, dude.
No. It's just so stupid how Dudesy has just really seeped into my own personal life, and
that's called the discount. That's called the tip, dude. That's called yeah.
It's so dumb.
Without even like thinking about it, just happens now.
I feel like like people like Skip and even like Shady. Like when we hung out with Shady a few weeks ago before the show,
he was saying it too.
He was saying it too, but he doesn't listen to the podcast. He doesn't listen to Dudesy, and neither does
he's
Skip.
Still saying, "Well,"
but Skip does it too, and it's just like it's just so fucking funny that it's like
such a perfect. Yeah. It really is like a perfect kind of like interjection, right? I want you to stop talking so I can talk. So I go, "Whoa." And then in person, when you put your hand out, and then you only hold the 3 fingers up, really, it's just like
it's so disrespectful.
Like, have you seen those videos where people cheese their babies? They throw they throw a piece of Kraft cheese on their baby's head that are crying.
The forehead, yeah.
And the babies are so in shock they just stop crying. They look up and they go, "Whoa, what's going on?" And that's what the wool hand is. It's kind of like you're cheesing somebody. Like, whoa. It's like I'm so in shock that how disrespectful you just interrupted me that I can't even speak.
And it's funny when you actually look at Hulk Hogan doing it, it makes it even funnier. Because it's really something. Like he's not as in your face with it, but he's always doing the 3 fingers out or the fingers out, yeah. Because
he did it directly to be disrespectful. That's called kayfabe, dude. Anyway.
Oh man.
Anyway, Peanuts.
All right, so yeah, this is the song I was referencing earlier about Andy Summers' guitar playing just being kind of wild and super super messy. This was it, and you like toward the end of that first toward the end of that, I guess the first solo in the first bridge, you kind of hear that surf style kind of like slide out, and then it goes back into, I believe, a verse, and then the second bridge drops at the end, and it's totally fucking surf inspired. And then there's like this weird, I don't know if it's a guitar effect or maybe it's a saxophone, I don't know, but it's just all this like this weird kind of solo, and it's just so off the wall. But it's like, dude, this is what I want more of. I want more experimentation with the Police. I want more of this weird, crazy shit going on. It sounded so good. That's one reason why I love this song so much. Not just because it's a more punk song, but because of stuff like this. They were really kind of doing things outside the box, and that's fucking rad, dude. that's really
that's all.
cool.
I mean, that's all in the punk aesthetic, though, right? The mindset. That's
the mindset.
all,
yeah.
Not
the style at all.
Yeah. But I mean, it is kind of funny. This is what, 78? Yeah, 78. So like Black Flag's already kind of like doing stuff at this point, but they haven't released an album yet, but it's still really close. And it's just to think like this going into like Damaged, right? Just 2-3 years later, it's like that style of punk is now transitioned from this into like hardcore punk, but there's a lot of parts of this that are very, very much more punk than like Black Flag.
I agree. I totally, and it's wild when you hear this record and you're just picking out all these things like, dude, these guys took from the Police, like so many different bands, like you just said, Black Flag, third wave ska on Zenyatta, off that record. There's a straight up third wave ska song on there. Something I had never heard this dating this far back, and it's just they were honestly really kind of ahead of their time. They were doing stuff that no band was doing that so many bands have taken from. Yeah. And just Josh Freese in general, like one of the top drummers of our era, and just how much he sounds like Stuart Copeland when he plays. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
I mean, it's even going like outside of like the drumming, but like Matt Freeman, right, from Rancid.
Yeah.
The stuff that he does, what he is really good at are those kind of like scales that he's doing, and
for sure.
Sting doesn't do it often, but he does it enough to where that should have like influenced Matt Freeman's bass style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's here.
It totally is here.
That's the sound.
And it's all being inspired by reggae music, from the 70s, which is so cool. I think this band, as popular as they are, they still deserve a little bit more credit too.
They really do. They're an underrated fucking band.
And I feel like based off of how many records they put out in such a short amount of time. And, dude, do you hear how loud that is?
I heard like a howl or something.
Dude, it's a train.
Oh.
Dude, the trains are never that loud. Holy shit. That thing must be going fucking fast.
Don't they max out at like 50 or 55 or something like that?
I think so, but I mean, for it to be that loud? Wow, that was really loud.
I don't think speed has a factor in how loud a train is.
Well, I mean, not the speed, but how much you're pushing the engine. The RPMs. The RPMs are going to make all that sound because that's the...
Do trains have RPMs, or you just throw more coal in it or some shit?
Trains aren't run on coal anymore. No, they're not run on coal anymore.
See, I don't know, and I don't
No,
think you know for
they're
sure.
not. No, they're not run on coal anymore because you would get all the
It's not gasoline.
Smoke. Why? It'd be diesel. Yeah, it would.
I don't. That seems like a waste. Isn't coal cheaper than gasoline?
Probably, but it's probably cheaper, but it's not cleaner. That's what we're all about, dude. Clean energy. Anyway, dude, I don't want to talk about trains. I don't want to talk about coal.
I just realized I have fucking no idea how a train works.
I don't either. I don't either.
Like if the world ended and we had to rebuild shit and like they're looking for someone to rebuild the trains, I'd be like, nah, dude, you need to look somewhere else. You need to look somewhere else.
I'm just gonna go home. Fuck.
Cannot contribute at all to that conversation.
What was I talking about? Damn it. Totally forgot what I was talking about. That's fine though.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, it sounded like we were kind of getting into the record wrap up maybe a little bit.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because we were talking about them being underrated, and when we say like underrated, it always feels like we're going to the wrap up. So
that's true. And Peanuts, as good of a song as it is, it's pretty straightforward punk song. I mean, even like the bass line is like in the verses, he's doing that kind of very like descending kind of bass line and pretty basic stuff. But overall, it's just a great song, wrapped up in I think it's like 3.5 minutes long. It's solid stuff. Do you want to talk about any other songs?
Let me just thumb through my notes real quick.
Because I mean, So Lonely was another big. The only songs we haven't talked about is So Lonely and Hole in My Life. Which Hole in My Life, whatever. I don't care.
Another great filler song.
Yeah, but it also sounds very different from the rest of the record. It has that kind of very kind of like trudging, almost like stoner rock sound to it.
Yeah, it's got
but
that
it really
staccato
doesn't go
rhythm. And it gives you a couple like false crescendos where it like builds up and then it goes back into that. And the relief comes later on and it kind of creeps in. There's no warning given. So it is kind of abrupt, But yeah, whatever. Whole of My Life's good.
And
So
wait, okay.
good. Oh.
So talking about songs that really trudge along and don't go anywhere. I was playing Spider-Man yesterday actually. I was playing Spider-Man. I just had some music on in the background. I'm like, dude, I'll just throw on Tool. Why not? So I threw on Anemia, arguably their most popular record. And dude, I'm half hour in and I thought it was the same song. Just those songs go nowhere at all. It's just constant build with no crescendo, no relief, no climax, nothing. It's just build,
the same complaint
that
we had the first time we did Tool. Like it just fucking doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't.
Nothing
like
happens.
It's like the bands I really want to get into, like Grateful Dead. I really want to get into that band, but I can't do it. Tool, I really want to like this band so much, but I cannot do it. Those are the two bands that I really, really want to like, but I can't do it.
At least with you, like there are
there.
Tool songs you like a lot.
There are, yeah, and like their first EP, Opiate, great EP.
I got rid of that one. It's purged.
Oh, did you? Well, it was like $5. It'd be like $5 for it.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's a solid EP. Honestly, the best thing they've ever done.
Have you listened to that EP recently?
I have not.
See, that's why you got to purge it, baby. Get rid of it.
See, every week I kind of go through things that I haven't listened to in a while, so I'll throw on that Tool, that EP sometime this week or next week.
It's good. I listened to it. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. But like, why the fuck would I listen? Like in my metal section, I would never pull that over Primus or Korn.
Primus and metal.
Where else would I put it?
I don't Prog.
No,
closer to Prog than metal.
Nah, because it'd be up against like Queen and the Electric Light Orchestra. Like, nah, dude. Nah, Primus is metal.
You put Queen in Prog?
Hell yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Damn, that's stupid. They have like one Prog song, or one Prog song every record.
That's right. Their biggest song is a Prog song. Their biggest song
true.
is one of the best Prog songs of all time. So that's why I put him in there.
Yeah, you're kind of right there. But outside of that, come on, dude. They're not a Prog band.
Shit, you're lucky I don't put him in fucking like metal for releasing Stone Cold Crazy and Sheer Heart Attack and shit like that. Okay?
Stone Cold Crazy is more of a punk song. But
Stone Cold Crazy. That's thrash, bro. That's the beginning of thrash right
metal.
there.
Yeah, of course.
I don't have a thrash section though.
Metallica does it better.
I put Suicidal in pop punk too.
Dude,
nah, I don't.
I was going to say, dude, shut the fuck up. Get out of here with your stupid ass sections and your record collection. That's so dumb.
So good.
I shouldn't have believed you. But anyway, back to the police. Let's wrap it up. We're just
crazy. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up, give our final thoughts on the record, rate the record based off of our world-famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album, but give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So what do you got, Jeff? Go.
Yeah, the Police. This is a band that I really do think is kind of like underrated. We know the Police as Every Breath You Take, unfortunately. We know the Police as Roxanne and Message in a Bottle. But like really, if you could ask somebody, like, name 4 Police songs, like, do you think they could do it? They'd probably do those 3, but do you think there would be a 4th? And I don't think that the average person could.
Don't stand so close to me.
I don't think so. I'm gonna test his theory, and I'll come back because I work at a music store.
I think people would say that song over Message in a Bottle.
Okay,
I really think so. I think so.
Like I said, I guess you'll be here actually the day you're here, because you'll be here soon.
I'll be here. Yeah, I'll be there in a couple days.
We'll be at my record store for at least several hours. We'll ask people just out of curiosity, dude. Can you name 4 Police songs? And we'll see how many people can name 4 songs. I'm just interested if they can name 1 song outside of their top 3.
Yeah,
and because of that, because we've been having this conversation, I think that's why the Police are so fucking underrated. And Sting's had a massive career, a very successful career outside of the Police. But the Police are just kind of a band that people know of, but don't really know how good they are. And that's unfortunate, because this album is just really unlike anything else that came before or after. It's not like a punk album. It's not a reggae album. It's nothing. It's its own entity. It's its own genre. It's its own subsection in my record collection. Not really. I put it in soft rock, but that's whatever. But like, man, this album is I cannot sing this praises enough. It's not perfect, because Born in the 50s is not really a good song, and I wish it wasn't there. I have a promo of this album, so I will never get rid of it because I love it. I could get rid of my whole collection if I wanted to, but I really do like this album. I throw it on more often than not. I'm going to purge my Regatta de Blanc because I just don't care about that enough as I do this one. So I give this 2.75. This is really, really, really fucking good. And I do enjoy every single song, and I at least enjoy parts of every single song. So even if a song that's like, okay, this is not my biggest banger, but I like what Copeland's doing. I like what Summers is doing. I like what's happening here. And I don't know. It's pretty good.
All right. So 2.75, right?
Yeah.
All right. My final thoughts. I think this record is amazing. It's fantastic. But like I said at the beginning of the episode and in the rankings episode, I don't ever have like the itch to want to go listen to the Police, go out of my way to go listen to them. And it's not like when I do eventually do it, it's fantastic. Like this week, every record was a lot of fun to listen to. There was no real low moment. And yeah, I mean, I'll get this album on vinyl if it's like $10, or if I found it in a lot or something like that, I would keep it. But I've never found it in the wild.
$10.
But it's like, dude, like I got that lot from my boss. He sold me his record collection from the 80s, and it literally had every Police record. It had every Police record but the first one. Everything else, which all went to your record store, by the way. So they're just sitting in your bins now. But anyway, with that, yeah, I think this band is way better than people really, like the mass population really think they are. And it's crazy because like when this band got back together in 06 or 07, whenever it was, they were selling out arenas. And yet, you know, people only know those few hits. They don't, I don't know, just like that's all people know. But then when you look at Sting, it's like Sting is also his solo stuff. When he goes on tour, he's selling out arenas too. Like, yeah. I don't really think of Sting as like being this really popular artist, but damn, dude, the guy will sell out like 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 seat arenas. Sell that shit out. I don't get it, but I mean, he has an audience, obviously. But I guess like the main top 40 mass population don't know. I agree with you. They don't know like the top 3 or 4 hits from the Police, which is crazy. It's crazy because they have so many. I don't want to say so many better songs, but they have better songs for sure.
Dude, and Sting just has like, oh my god, it is like biggest song from that fucking album in the 90s, that Fields of Gold fucking song.
Oh, what's that one song from like 97 or 98? That's actually a good song. Not it's something Rose or Desert Rose? Was that the song? That song's actually pretty fucking good. I heard it on the radio. A few years ago, and I was kind of like, dude, this is like good 90s like soft rock music. Like most soft rock in the 90s was absolute garbage, but that song was actually really good. I think it's called Desert Rose. That song's actually a banger. Some cheesy parts, but it's good. All right. Anyway, I don't know. With that being said, I'll give this record a 2.75 as well. It's really, really a solid record. It was a good, easy listen through the last couple weeks listening to this. And yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. Anything else for you?
No, that's it. This was exciting and fun, and I fucking love this album.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, follow us on the socials, tell all your friends. And that's it. That's all. Just freeze. Visual.